for your mid-semester examination. Okay, so this is, I mean, just the unit one, my portions. Benny sir would have already given his portions. This is only for my part. Okay, whatever classes I have been taking over this period of time. This is the portion that will be, I mean, from where you will be getting questions in your mid-semester examination, right? And the midsem exam pattern is already given to you in your Google Classroom. I think sir would have already discussed with you, right? So we have two parts. It's already uploaded in Google Classroom. You have, it's not in your classwork, it is just in your main page itself, it will appear. Okay, so yeah, you will have what is that? MCQ, multiple choice questions, right? So multiple choice questions you will be having for 60 marks, and then it will be reduced to 30. Okay, so in that you will be having 30. No. Yeah, 30 1 mark questions and 15 2 marks questions, right? So totally 45 questions will be there. 30 will be for 1 mark, very simple ones. As soon as you look at the, the question, you will be able to deduce the answer. So 30 1 mark questions and 15 2 mark questions where small problems will be there, very simple problems that you have to calculate and find out the value, right? Of course, it's going to be MCQ. You will have 4 options given. Out of the 4, you need to choose one option. Okay. So that is the first part. That is section A. And section B, you will be having 2 problems, 5 marks each, right? So 2 problems, 5 marks each. That will be for 10 marks. That will be from my part. And of course, the other part you will be having 5 2 marks questions, and that will be concept questions. Okay, so that's what sir said. 5 2 marks questions, and that will be concept type. And from my part, it will be 2 5 mark questions. Okay, so 2 problems completely you need to work out, solve, get the answer. Okay, all this you need to do on a sheet of paper. You buy A4 sheets and keep it ready with you. So you have to do it on that, and then you will have to scan and upload, just like you are uploading your assignments, your lab work, etc. Right? So that you have to scan and upload, and always it's better to do it as PDF, one single PDF file, right? So some of you are doing it in different formats. I checked the when I was checking your lab work and also your HED and other CIA, theory CIA that you give, some of you are giving it in different format, right? Some of you are uploading images and some in RTF format, etc. But we prefer one single PDF. It will be easy for us to evaluate, because when I look at a PDF file, I can just scroll down and I will get the complete complete information that you have already sent. Okay, so you do it in PDF, you convert it to PDF. Even if you are taking it in image, taking an image, you just convert to PDF and then put it as a single file, right? I think you would have, many of you have already learned how to do that, and so I don't have to tell you how to do it, because you already learned that. And this is what word file, if it is doc, it is fine, but not RTF. Don't send it as RTF, because it's very difficult for me to open and read it. Okay, not the rich text format, not that one. Normal doc or docx you can send. Word is fine. Okay, so that's about it. You don't, anyway, I'll be conducting a mock test on Monday. 1 or 2 questions I will give, so that you can, you will get the feel of how to answer the MCQ and how to submit the MCQ. Now, remember, the exam is going to be conducted in Google Form only, right? So Google Form we will be using, and Google Doc we will be using. So if it is Google Form, then you have to submit the form, right? Otherwise, it will it will not reach us, and we cannot evaluate it. So remember to submit it. It's not like your some exams you would have, some CIAs you would have attended in LMS, right? It's not like LMS. You have to submit the form, then only it will reach us. Okay. So anyway, you'll be doing a mock this one, so you will understand how to do it. I will give you a mock test on Monday. Monday, maybe let's say in the afternoon, if you are free, we will just fix up the time. Okay. Maybe it will be just half an hour only, very short this one, just for you to understand how to attempt the test and then do the uploading. It's mainly for uploading, right? Otherwise, you don't need a mock test because everything is done. Elaborately done in the class. Okay. So, and you're going to get only whatever you have studied in the class. From those portions only, you're going to get the questions. Okay. Right. So, any questions with respect to the examination? Otherwise, I will start with this. Yes, in the mock test, you will have both. Both our portions will be there. So some idea you will get about what type of questions will be asked in the mid-semester examination. Only the type of questions, the same questions will not repeat in mid-sem. Both the portions. Complete electronics ELE 131, the complete whatever is completed up to now, from that you will be having questions. Anything else you would like to know? I suppose the format is clear. Format of the exam is clear, and your exam is going to be on 20th, right? So 20th is a Tuesday, I guess. So you'll be having your exam on 20th, 9:30 to 11:30. I mean, we have given you a little more time, 10 minutes more for you to scan and upload, right? So that you will have enough time to write and then scan and then upload. So time will be sufficient for you. No, you will not have classes during the on Saturday. No, no classes on Saturday. When the exam is happening, you are having continuous exams, right? So during the examination, there will not be any classes. Okay, I suppose everything is clear. Now you just look into your notebooks. Okay, so this is the first topic that we discussed, active and passive components. Okay, now here in this you should know how to define. Supposing you're not having proper notes with you, you can just refer, online you will get lot of information regarding this. What is active component, what is a passive component, examples of active and examples of passive component, right? So what is the function of an active component in a circuit? What is the function of a passive component in a circuit? What are the different types of passive components that is used in the circuits, and different types of active components that is used in the circuit, and why they are called passive and why they are called active. Okay, so these are the things that you need to know here. The examples of active passive, right? How to classify active and passive components, examples of each, and definition of an active component, definition of a passive component, and what are the different types of components that are used in electronic circuits. Okay, so that's about the first the first item that I've given here is active and passive component. So this much you need to know about this topic. Now, next is linear and bilateral components. So many a time we are using this term, linear, bilateral, complex network, etc. Right? So you should know the definition of what a linear component is, what a bilateral component is. Okay. So the definition, what is it exactly? And then examples of linear component, and examples of bilateral component, examples of non-linear and non-bilateral components also, right? So when we have linear, there should be something called non-linear also, right? So you should know the examples of both, and why it is called linear and why it is called non-linear component, etc. So that's about the second topic that we have here. And many times I have explained it in the class. What is a linear component? With example, I have done that. So given a component, you should be able to identify whether it is a linear or a non-linear component, right? So familiar components to you, you should be able to identify whether it is linear, non-linear, whether it is bilateral or a non-bilateral component. Okay, next is the voltage divider theorem. We discussed about voltage divider theorem. Voltage divider theorem, you should know the statement of the theorem. Right, statement you should be familiar with, and voltage divider theorem, it is used in series circuits, right? So voltage divider theorem is used in series circuits only, and current divider theorem, again, the statement you should know, and current divider theorem is used in parallel circuits. Why parallel circuits? Because only in parallel branches the current gets divided. If it is a serial circuit, the voltage will get divided, right? So current will be the same. If you have a serial closed network or a circuit, the current through that closed network will be the same through all the components, right? Only the voltage gets divided up among the different components. Whereas in current divider theorem, it is parallel circuits, and in parallel circuits, the voltage remains the same and the current gets divided. Voltage across two parallel components will be the same if they are just connected in parallel, right? And the current will be divided, the current branches between the two parallel circuits. Okay, so the current will be different, voltage will be the same. Then voltage and current sources. Voltage and current sources, this is the assignment that you did. Okay, this is your CIA. In voltage and current sources, you should, all of you have written, almost all of you have written the information you have given regarding voltage and current sources. Here you should know about what is meant by a ideal voltage source, right? So ideal voltage source is one that does not have internal resistance, isn't it? Internal resistance is not present in a ideal voltage source, and practical voltage source always it contains a internal resistance in series with the source. So here it's important, voltage source internal resistance is in series with the source, right? And because of the internal resistance, the voltage across the terminals. See, for example,
Ma'am,
yeah.
could you explain linear and bilateral components
No,
again?
I will not do it. I have done it n times. You refer the website and find out. So many times I have already explained with example. You are going to learn it yourself. Okay, I'll use this slide only. Here, see, for example, if you have a source like this, okay, so this is a source. This is with V and this is R. R is the internal resistance of the source and V is the source voltage. Okay. Now, if it is a ideal source, there is no internal resistance, right? And if we measure the voltage here across the terminal, this is the terminal. So we have a source and we are measuring the voltage across the terminals. Here, if it is an ideal source, then the terminal voltage will be same as the source voltage because we do not have any internal resistance here, right? So if we have a ideal source like this, then the terminal voltage will be equal to the source voltage. Now, supposing we have a practical source like this, right? So practical source, it already has an internal resistance here, and therefore there is some drop across this resistance. Now, in this case, what happens? Whatever be the load resistance that you connect here, RL value, whatever be the load that you connect here, across the load you will have the same voltage, isn't it? Terminal voltage will be same as the source voltage irrespective of the load resistance. But here, if we connect a load resistance, see, if we connect RL, if we connect a load resistance here, there is drop across this internal resistance, right? So depending upon the load voltage, load resistance value, and depending on the internal resistance value here, the drop across this, the terminal voltage is going to vary, right? So that depends upon this value as well as this value. So in a practical voltage source, the terminal voltage will not be same as the source voltage. It will always be less than the source voltage. Whereas in a practical, in an ideal voltage source, the terminal voltage will be same as the source voltage, right? So that is okay, so you should know what is a practical voltage source, what is a ideal voltage source, and the reason why an ideal source cannot exist. Right. So one reason is that always the voltage sources will have or the sources themselves will have some internal resistance. Okay. And the second reason is that if there is if there is no internal resistance, then even for R equal to 0, right? So R equal to 0, also there will be current or voltage across the resistance. RL equal to 0, there has to be the same voltage. RL across if RL equal to 0, then voltage across RL will be equal to V itself, right? If it is an ideal source, and that cannot happen. And the power will be infinity. If for R equal to 0, if we are getting maximum voltage, maximum current, etc., then the power will be infinity, which is not practically possible. Okay, right. So these voltage and current sources, you should be able to explain ideal, practical, then the response curve for an ideal source, for a practical source. Similarly for the current source also, right? So ideal, practical, the response graph, and why ideal sources cannot exist, etc. And the diagram, voltage, here you have resistance in series with the source. Here you have resistance in parallel with the source. Okay, internal resistance in parallel with the source. So that much you need to know about voltage current sources. So you already have, learned that one because you did the assignment for that. Okay, next coming to KVL and
Ma'am,
KCL. Yes.
is there conversion of current, this thing, voltage source and current source?
This is similar to this. Thevenin Norton interconversion is similar here. Thevenin is nothing but a voltage source, right? Norton is nothing but a current source. So
Okay,
here
okay.
we are seeing that. Whether it is a voltage source, current source, or whether Thevenin equivalent, Norton equivalent, it's the same, right? Because the sources are the same.
Okay, ma'am.
That is there. That is there. That's the last topic. Okay, right. So here, KVL, KCL, Kirchhoff's current law, definition, right? So what is Kirchhoff's current law? And then the statement, explanation with a circuit. With a circuit, you should know how to explain it. Say that I1 plus I2 sign convention. Depending upon the sign convention that is used, you should be able to explain KCL. Right. And similarly, KVL also statement and explanation, the sign convention that you're using for this KVL. And here, KCL, of course, we have not done any problem. Here, using KVL, that is mesh analysis. That's the only type that will be asked. KVL, using KVL, mesh analysis, find the current, find the branch currents, or find the current through a given resistor, etc. So that type of problem can be asked here using KVL mesh analysis. KCL only statement and explanation. Okay, because we have not yet done problems with this. KVL mesh analysis, many exercises we have done, many numericals we have done. So by now you should be very familiar with this. Okay, next is superposition theorem. Superposition theorem statement. Okay, statement of superposition theorem, what it states. And then numericals. Okay, see, you also have how to apply superposition theorem. Okay, how to apply superposition theorem. Now, for this exam, that theory part I'm not going to ask. Okay, maybe for the final exam, definitely it will be there. For mid-semester examination, you should know the statement of superposition theorem and also how to work out numericals. Okay, I'm not asking, this time I'm not asking about the application of superposition theorem to a circuit. Okay, then Thevenin's theorem. Superposition theorem also we have done many exercises, many numericals we have solved. Take one source at a time. Here what you need to remember here is, if it is a current source, you replace it with a open circuit. Voltage source, you replace it with a short circuit, right? So that you need to remember, and also see whether there is internal resistance of the voltage source given. Okay, if it is given, then you, when you're drawing the circuit itself, connect it in series with the voltage source. Then coming to Thevenin's theorem again, statement, and you should know thoroughly the statement and how to Thevenize a circuit, and problems also, how to find the VTH value, how to find the RTH value, then draw the Thevenin equivalent circuit, find the load current if it is asked. So here clearly you should know how to calculate VTH given a circuit, how to calculate RTH, okay, and how to draw the Thevenin equivalent and find the load current. Norton's theorem also, statement of Norton's theorem, and how to apply it to a circuit, and how to find the Norton current, how to find the Norton resistance, okay, definition of IN, definition of RN, etc. And how to draw the Norton equivalent and hence find the current, okay. And the last one is conversion, interconversion of Thevenin and Norton circuits. So that was the last topic we discussed here. Okay. Maximum power transfer was the last. Interconversion of Thevenin Norton. Okay, this part. This is also very important. Here you see that now this is nothing but a current source, right? So current source, we are converting it into a voltage source with the source and internal resistance in series, right? So here the internal resistance in this case is nothing but the Norton, Thevenin resistance. Here in this case, it is the Norton resistance. So this is a current source in parallel. So this is nothing but a practical current source. This is nothing but a practical voltage source. Okay. Right. So this interconversion, you should know the formula. Okay. And also you should know how to convert. Right. So this type of problems also can be asked. What is the question? Okay. Maximum power transfer, I am not including it for midsem. Only this much. Whatever I have shown here, only that much is there for your midsem exam here. Up to Thevenin Norton interconversion only. But then I will be continuing. So in the next class and all, I will be continuing with the topics. But for your midsem exam, only these are the topics. Okay, so because now after this, we are not getting many more classes. Your last, what is that, class day is November 25th. November 25th is your last class day. So we hardly have 1 month and a few more days, that's all. And many holidays are there this month. Okay, so I will not stop the classes. I will not stop the classes. I will continue with the portions, but then for your midsem exam, only this is the syllabus. Numericals will here completely numericals, no? Isn't it? Everywhere you can get numerical, current divider, voltage divider, and KVL, superposition, Thevenin Norton, interconversion, all these are numericals only, right? So first unit is completely numericals. It's network theorems. Superposition statement can be asked. Yes, superposition statement can be asked, and numericals can be there. Similarly, KVL statement can be asked, and numericals will be there. Same applies for Thevenin Norton also. Yeah, if you have questions, you get it clarified, because I'm not going to spend any more time on this. So today is the complete revision class. So whatever doubts you have, you can get it clarified. Now, if you're not having doubts, we will go to the problems, right? So Thevenin Norton, I had given some problems. So we will just go back to that and see whether you have got the answers. If we are set to calculate load resistance in Thevenin Norton, Load resistance, why do you calculate? No, I don't understand your question. Who's this? 1 minute. Atharva, what is your question? Load resistance, you're not calculating. Your load resistance, you're calculating only in maximum power transfer, isn't it? Only in maximum power transfer, you are asked to calculate the load resistance, RTH value, and substitute RL as equal to RTH. In no other problem, you are calculating, I mean, no other theorem, you are calculating the load resistance. See, whether you are using Thevenin's theorem or Norton's theorem, the calculation for the RTH and RN are the same. Load current. Load current. No, you will not get like that. You will not have a problem where you will be asked to calculate the load current in both the ways. Only one method you will be asked to use, either Thevenin or Norton. And then maybe you will ask to, you may be asked to draw the equivalent circuit, that's all, not calculate load current. Even if you are asked to calculate, you draw the equivalent circuit and then find the load current. With supposing, let's say, you are having a Thevenin's, you are asked to use Thevenin's theorem for analysis, and you will get the Thevenin equivalent circuit, and hence you will calculate the load current, right? And later, if you are if you are asked to draw the Norton equivalent and calculate the load current, then you draw the equivalent circuit, connect back the load resistance, and calculate the load current. You don't have to again go through the process of Norton's theorem. See, I have told many times, I have told you there will not be classes during exams. During your exam, during your mid-semester exam, that 1 week, you will not have classes. Regular classes will not be there. Only examination will be there. After writing the exam, afternoon, you sit and prepare for the next exam. Okay. So no classes during that 1 week when your exams are happening. Yeah. Any other questions in this? With respect to any of the theorems, any doubts? Anyone? Everything is clear in this? Yes. Okay. Okay. Now I will. I think I will go back to somebody wanted the Thevenin Norton. This and open that. Okay, so first problem is calculate the load current using Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem, right? Here, now this is two different problems actually. Maybe with the same circuit, you are asked to do that. It is not, I mean, it's two different problems, right? So here, for first one, A, you have to do the complete Thevenin's theorem method, and for B, you need to do the complete Norton's theorem method, right? Instead of giving two circuits, for the same circuit, I have asked you to find out here. But in the examination, you will not get like this. Problems will not be like this. It can be either Thevenin's theorem or Norton's theorem. You may be asked to draw the equivalent circuit, okay? Okay, what is the answer you got for this, for the first one? A. Let us share the answers. IL value 0.35. Okay, so I will write the answer here. Okay, let's see if 0.35. Okay, 346 is okay. It's almost equal to 0.35. 0.35. Okay. 0.35. Anyone not getting that value? Point 0.35 again, yes. So that means that has to be correct. So many of you have got 0.35. So I think it has to be correct. Anyone having problem? Anyone having difficulty in working it out? Anyone? No? Okay. See, now is the time to get it clarified because I'm not going to come back to these topics hereafter. So now is the time. If you have doubts, you get it clarified. So how to do how to go about it? First, you need to remove the load resistance, open the terminals, right? And VTH will be voltage across this 4 ohms. So VTH value will be 9 into 4 divided by 3 plus 4 plus 3. So that will be VTH value, and RTH will be, RTH you have to open this and then short these, right? So RTH, I'll just write the equation for those who have not got the answer. So RTH you have to redraw the circuit. I'm not drawing it. So you just redraw the circuit, short this. So that will be 3 plus 3 parallel 4 parallel 4 plus 6. Okay, so that will be your RTH value. Then you draw the Thevenin equivalent and hence calculate the okay, VTH value. What are you getting? Those who have calculated, you just tell me VTH. 3.6 volts. Okay. And RTH. RTH 8.4 ohms. So draw the Thevenin equivalent and calculate the value of IL. IL you are supposed to get it as 0.35. Okay. Now Norton's theorem also similar manner you have to do from the beginning. So this is just an exercise to familiarize you with the method, right? Okay. Now you tell me the Norton current IN value for the same problem. IN 0.428. So I'll write it as 0.4. Okay, 0.43 amperes, and Rn will be equal to RTH, which is equal to 8.4. Okay, and you draw the Norton equivalent. If you calculate the current, you have to get the same value. IL will be equal to whatever be the method that you use, this is not going to change. Okay, you have to get the same value. Okay, so supposing in this problem, I ask you to calculate the Norton current across the terminals AB. Norton current, the circuit is given and you are asked to calculate the Norton current across the terminals AB. So you need to do only one part, which is finding the finding the Norton current or the short circuit current, right? So for what you do, you remove this resistance, short the terminals AB, then find the current IN. So that will be 0.43. Okay, only that much you need to do for if you are just asked to calculate the Norton current. You don't have to go about doing the other part. Okay, don't waste your time doing the other part. Just read the question carefully. You need to understand what is asked, and only that much you need to calculate, right? Similarly, if you're asked to calculate, let's say in a KVL or a SPT problem, supposing you are asked to calculate the current through only one of the resistors, you do only that much. Okay, don't go about calculating the values across the other resistors, branch currents. Okay, this problem, anybody is having doubt? Yes, for each step mark is there. You need to do it very systematically, step by step. For example, let's say if you are asked to KVL, right? So you mesh analysis. First, you need to draw the circuit, okay, and then you need to mark the currents, mark the nodes, different nodes you need to mark. Just like I explained in the class, you need to do it step by step. So mark all the nodes, mark all the currents in your main circuit, and then the first equation you write, first loop equation you write, simplify that loop equation, call that as equation 1, then write the second loop equation, simplify that, call it as equation 2, and then you go about solving the simultaneous equations, right? All the steps should be there in your paper. For each step mark is there. For each, let's say, for one equation mark is there, second equation mark is there. Okay, so mark is there for the steps. So don't miss out any steps. Step by step, systematically sit and do it. Concentrate and do. Okay, second is Thevenin voltage across. See here, okay, this is what I was trying to tell. See, here you are asked to find the Thevenin voltage, right? So only the Thevenin voltage. You don't have to go about calculating the load resistance here. Don't do all that. Don't calculate RTH. Only, I'm sorry, what is asked? Thevenin voltage is asked. So you need to calculate only the VTH value. Only VTH is asked, right? So nothing else. Don't waste your time calculating RTH. Don't try to find out the load resistance substitute and all that. Okay. Now here only VTH value is asked. So what will be the VTH value? VTH will be, so there is no current through this. So these two resistors will not come into picture. It is as good as measuring across this 9 ohms, right? So this will be 12 into 9 divided by how much? 2.4. 1 minute. RP and RL for which problem? Anyway, you will be calculating, right? RP value you will be calculating. Okay, for this 1 minute, let me see. Here it's not required. Here it's not required. Here, supposing you want to, if you have to use current divider, then in that case RP value will be required, right? So it is better to keep that value. If you are having where you are supposed to use current divider theorem in the circuit for calculating the current, then in that case RP value will be required, right? So it's better formulas and you have substituted the value, and here you just need to write this value. That's it. We will not be looking for this one. Okay. Yeah. VTH value 7.7 for which one? Okay, next problem. Yeah. 7.7. Yes.
The first question. So Thevenin's theorem, we are getting 0.35, and using Watson's theorem, we are getting 0.39. That was my doubt last day. That there is
39 here. Yeah, here you're getting
Watson's theorem.
no. That much difference may not come.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. Now here you're
Ma'am,
getting
Terms of calculations, if anybody could, if you could help
so
with
with IN as 0.43, you're getting it as 0.39.
No, it's not 0.39.
Now IN value is correct, 0.43.
It's 0.48. I'm getting 0.48.
You're getting 0.48 for this one. Okay, let me see then.
ma'am, there's a discrepancy between the worksheet that you're looking from and the one that was uploaded. Question number 2, it says 2 volts instead of 12 volts. So all of us got a different answer because at least from I don't know why it says 2 volts, but it looks like 2 volts from this thing. And I'm pretty sure a few of us have thought it was 2 volts when we solved it.
Okay, doesn't matter. With 2 volts, whatever value you're getting, you write it. Okay. See,
ma'am.
this one I'm writing with this one tablet and then I'm doing it, isn't it? Sometimes it may not get recorded there. That is
Okay,
why
ma'am.
that it is missing. Okay. So it doesn't matter. Even if if you have done it with 2 volts, your answer for 2 volts should be correct. I mean, VTH, if this is 2 volts, your VTH value should be correct. That's all. With the 2 volts, how much you're getting?
With 2 volts, ma'am, I got 1.286.
1.28. Okay, that's fine. See here in all these problems, why I'm giving you this many problems is that you should know the method of solving, right? Answers, I mean, the values can be anything. It's not going to mean anything here. See, 5, 7, 9, I can always write it as 3, 4, 5, etc. Right? So, but method you should understand clearly and you should be able to adopt method for the given problem. So that is, you should learn that one and you should be confident with that. That is what is more important. This is okay with 2 volts, right? So this answer you will get with V equal to 2 volts. So this is with V equal to 12 volts, 7.71. Yeah, I was doing this problem, right? 3. This is 3 ohm. This problem, all of you are seeing the same values, right? So whatever is shown here, the same values only you're seeing, isn't it? So this is IN. This is 9, 6. IN is the current through the 6 ohms, right? So what is the total total current? First find RT. RT will be parallel 4, right? So 6 parallel 4 plus 3 plus 3. 7.4. Okay, R is 7.4. Right. Then IN. No, IT. Total current will be 9 divided by 7.4. How much is coming? 1.21. 1.21 is the total current. Then IN will be 1.21 into 6 parallel 4 is how much? 8.4. RT is 8.4. Sure. Huh? Huh? That's okay.
Okay.
Here it is 9 divided by 8.4, correct. 1.07. That may be the mistake. Here now it's that's the value you're getting here, right? IN will be 0.43. This IL will be is 3 plus 2. 3 and 4, isn't it? See, this is 2.4 plus 3 plus 3. It's not 2. Okay, now for this IL is how much? Okay. IL is 0.35, right? So for this, okay, that's what, whatever be the method that you use, the load current value will not change. Okay. Whether it is Thevenin's theorem you're using, Newton's theorem you're using, or even a simple, this is simple circuit, not complex circuit. So you can use just a series parallel combination and you can find out the load current. So whatever be the method that you are using, the value of the currents or the voltages will not change. Okay, now here third one is, what is the third one? Quickly I will go through, calculate the Norton current here. Here you are asked to calculate the Norton current across the terminals. So only Norton current, right? So don't spend your time, don't waste your time doing, finding out RTH, RN, etc. Don't do that. Just the Norton current you are asked to find out. So just draw this circuit for the Norton current and proceed with your calculations. 0.62 for which one? Norton current. Let me see that. I'll just. So you remove the resistance, short it. Okay, so that is IN 4 ohm. Eight ohm. So current through the 4 ohms, right? So RT will be 4 parallel 8 plus 3. IN is 0.7. RT value, tell me. Just calculate quickly. Tell me. 5.66. See this, you have to see whenever I'm doing, whoever is doing the calculation and putting it here, they will find it very easy when you're doing the MCQs and when you're doing the section B part, right? So those who are lazy, not using your calculator, not trying to calculate along with, along with me, you will find it very difficult when you're doing the MCQ. Time will not be sufficient for you. Okay, so when class is happening, you need to concentrate, you need to use your calculator. And this is just, it's mechanical. 4 into 8 divided by 4 plus 8, just punch in your calculator and get the value. Okay, so if you're not able to do this in the class, then you will find it very difficult when you're doing your MCQ. Okay, MCQ, some of the 2-mark problems, 2-mark questions are problems. So you need to have that speed in calculation. Okay, so 5.66 is RT, then IT, total current, 6 divided by 5.66, so that will be 1.058 amperes. Then IN, what is IN equal to? IN will be 1.05 into 2.66. 2.66 divided by 4. Okay, 0.7. 0.7. That's the third one. See here, supposing I don't have this 4 ohm. Listen carefully. So I don't have this 4 ohm. Circuit is like this. Okay, and we are asked to calculate the Norton current. What will be the Norton current?
Ma'am, where did you get 2.66 from?
Which one? This one. RP.
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah, 4
2.66.
parallel 6. 4 parallel 8.
Okay, ma'am, okay.
RP value, no? The current divider I'm using.
All
Total
right, ma'am.
current into RP divided by its own resistance.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
When they say Norton current over AB, they are asking about the current source or the current that is passing to the resistance of AB.
Current through the short circuit that you connect when you are calculating the Norton current.
Okay, I thought they meant that once we get the Norton circuit, whatever value of current that's going through the load, that's what they meant. Okay, that was my mistake.
Specifically, it said IN, right? It says IN, Norton current, not the load current.
Yeah, but I misunderstood the question, ma'am. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
So no, you read, that's what, see, some of it is very confusing, okay, because we use IL, we use load current, we say Norton current, we say IN. So you need to read the question carefully, understand, and then start your calculations. Okay, so that is why I'm doing this revision. See, you got that doubt, isn't it? So everybody got it clarified now. Okay, so what happens if I just short this? I'm sorry, if I just remove this and replace with a short? What will be IL? No, I'm asking about IN, not IL, IN, Norton current. So this is the circuit given. I want to find out the Norton current. See here, I've calculated with 4 ohms, right? Now that 4 ohms is not there, and I am asked to calculate the Norton current through this 5.33. Look at the circuit carefully. Redraw the Norton circuit, Norton current circuit. Don't look at this circuit. Redraw the circuit for Norton current, for finding the Norton current, and then tell me the answer. .05, 0.54, no. Look at the circuit carefully. Redraw the circuit, look at it carefully. Four ohm is removed. Okay. Series. Which is in series? See, for finding the Norton current, what do? You remove the resistance and replace it with a short, isn't it? Redraw the circuit. Don't look at this circuit and do.
Ma'am, it be the total current
That's how much?
1.3 amps.
1.3 cannot be the total current then. How did you get that 1.3? Okay. 11, 6 by 11. Okay, redraw the circuit. Volts is there, then 8 ohms. The circuit becomes like this. Eleven point.
Ma'am, you're you're missing the 9 and 2 volts. Sorry, 2 ohms resistors. Right?
Norton current is short circuit current.
Yes, but the only load is the 5 ohms, right? That's what's given.
Sure, yeah. This circuit. No, this circuit.
Oh, okay.
Third one.
So then why was the 4 ohms removed, ma'am?
Now I'm just giving another example. One more
Okay, ma'am. Sorry.
example without that. Yeah, without 4 ohms. This is another example of a circuit. I'm asking you to find the Norton current. What will be the total resistance here? See, let us say, see now, okay, so this is the circuit. We want to find IN, right? So this is the circuit that is given, and first find the total current and then find the Norton current. You can assume that for the time being, we are not connecting this. Find the total current, right? So what happens if there is a short circuit and if there is another resistance in parallel? Where will the total current flow? Total current will flow through the short circuit only, isn't it? All the current will go through the short circuit because that is the least resistance path. So the total current will be through this. I will be equal to IN, yes, correct. So this resistance is as good as shorted, right? So current will be 6 divided by 3, so 2 ohms. I'm sorry, 2 amperes. This resistance is shorted. Okay, coming to this one, it's time already. I would like to close it. So just discuss these two, the steps, and then we will close. So if you're not interested, you can leave. Okay, already 1 hour over. So if you're not interested in getting the answer for those two problems, you can leave now. Calculate the load current using Norton's theorem, hence draw the Thevenin equivalent. See here, for this one, you need to find the Norton current and hence draw the Thevenin equivalent, right? So which means you need to find VTH and draw the Thevenin equivalent. What is the current value you got for this? For the fourth problem. Fourth one is not. One is fourth one. If You need the answer. Can you just give me the answer for IL? IL is 1.24 or IL is 1.24. No, I'm sorry, 1 ampere. Okay. How did you get 1 ampere? See, 5 is shorted, AB. So 9 plus 2, 11. 11 parallel 4 here. 11 parallel 4 plus 10. No, 11 parallel 4 will be the RP value. Okay, 0.991 is okay, fine, no problem. 1 ampere, okay. So most of you are getting that, so that has to be correct. So 5 amperes after coming here, it gets divided between this 4 ohms and 9 plus 2, 11 ohms. 0.999 is almost 1 ampere. Right, next one, fifth one, Thevenin and Norton, right? Here, IL value. 0.303. Okay. Point 302, it's fine. The third decimal place, 0.30. Okay. Ampere. So always don't forget to write the units. Okay. Don't forget to write the units, whether it is ohms, amperes, volts. Just don't write the number. It has to be with units always. Right. So I'm going to stop here. Any more doubts you have? Other 2 theorems we have discussed in detail. Superposition and done in detail. You didn't understand which one. Okay, those who have no questions and everything is clear, you can leave the meeting.